Attention coaches, mastermind owners, you need to know what we're covering today. Sales Center and FlowChat fam, hey, welcome back for another Spotlight series. Today is going to be absolute fire because we're talking to somebody, another fellow member in our community that is just on the front lines getting real results for real people just like you. There's no fluff, there's no BS. This is the real stuff, and it's specifically for coaches, consultants, mastermind owners. We have a huge problem, and it comes into play with community, simply put. How do we engage? How do we grab and earn attention and serve these people? How many people have put out a course and content and no one freaking looks at it? And how annoying is that? And you've spent so much time and you've used schematics and you mapped out all the stuff, and then it's like no one cares, and it's like, I can help you, but if you would just pay attention. Our guest today, Brandon, is going to lead us into the light. He can help us build community, build engagement with the tribe and the people in the community that we're looking to serve. So Brandon, welcome.
What is going on, Chris? Appreciate you having me today, man.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. So we're going to cover a few topics. Before we get into a success finder and some of the cool things that you're building, I'd love for everyone just to get to know you, because you're a great guy to talk. Like, we've just got to meet each other a little bit, and we're just like right off the bat, we're right into it, man. So how did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I actually, until a few years ago, the word entrepreneur was kind of dirty to me. I'm like, I'm not an entrepreneur, because I'm just like it's a word that is so loosely used. But when I go back in time, I actually there's a few touch points that I remember, because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family in the restaurant industry and real estate industry. We had a fair amount of real estate in our town, and probably the largest restaurant. And so cool place to play hide and go seek, let me tell you, and is in a restaurant. But I sat there, and my parents always led me to the way of, nope, you need to go to college. You need to, go work for a company, even though we had entrepreneurialism in there. And so eventually one of my first, jobs was working at a country club scrubbing clubs. And here's the cool thing. All you had to do is sit there and listen, just listen, because people were constantly having conversations, whether it was on their cell phone, whether it was a business partner, and the scrubbing station was right next to the restroom. So you're getting a lot of conversations coming and going out of there. And that really was the beginning, short of me selling, candy to kids at a young age, which I found out was a bad idea. Parents didn't like that part, but that was really the beginning of me understanding entrepreneurialism and what it was to work for someone, what it was to work with someone, and what it was to control your destiny. Meaning that, whether if you're partnering with someone or you're doing it yourself, you're responsible for your own destiny, not the CEO, not a Fortune 500, 100 company, where, top line down. It was up to you. Now, when I finished, and I finished my degree in finance. And if I look back at it, I didn't need it whatsoever. The reality is, I'm a numbers person, but I didn't need to do what I've built to this day. But I get into corporate America and I move along, and I meet my now wife, and she hears all these, I could do this and we could build this. And she finally looked at me. Are we allowed to use but a word that might be a little more sassy? Are we good with that or no?
We're good. Let's roll.
Okay, cool, man. She said, shit or get off the pot. I'm tired of hearing you. And the pot, by the way, is toilet, just in case, if we have a generational question there. Yeah. Shit or get off the toilet. And she's like, I believe in you. You talk about all these dreams, all these things that you want to go build and you want to go do them. Just go do it, or stop talking about it and stay in corporate America. I said, okay. You know what?
Got called out, my friend.
Best kick in the rear end. And she continues to kick me in the rear end to this day. That's why we're sitting here, is because she kicked me in the rear end to start, our, umpteenth company. And so I go start my first company, but I still, even when doing that, I'm like, well, anyone can go do this. And my oldest company, which I still haven't sold, has over 8,000 monthly paying customers. So, that's, we're not, Nordstrom's or Macy's or a Fortune 100 or 500 company, but 8,000 monthly plus paying customers, not too bad. Not bad, what I call foundation to go build things of purpose. But a few years ago, I finally sat there and said, holy crap, I am an entrepreneur. Just because other people can do it doesn't mean that I'm not, that I'm not an entrepreneur. So I embraced that. And to this day now, I have conversations with now our 6-year-old, but we've been having these conversations for quite some time about what it is to own, run, build, get capital in the entrepreneurial space, and how you can really make an impact. So it started a few decades ago, and now I'm comfortable with saying, I've bought, I've built, I've sold, and now you and I are here talking.
I love it. I've never heard entrepreneur kind of being a dirty word yet. It's always the cool, popular word, but for similar reasons of what you're mentioning, maybe overused, overpopularized, made popular. But hearing somebody starting their own business is always a good story because it's like, I got this great idea. Instead of working for somebody else for 50 hours, I'm gonna go beat my head against the wall, work 80, and life's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm going to have more risk, more liability, payroll, 401k matching, whatever it is. And hey, this sounds brilliant at the end of the day, but that's the difference between what I will sit there and say, like a real entrepreneur, we all have ideas and they sit in a shelf in our head. And we either take the idea off the shelf and start acting on it, or we sit there and be okay with working for someone else. It's okay. You can have an entrepreneurial spirit and still come work for Chris or myself. That's okay. Totally. I've got people that have entrepreneurial spirit, but they don't want the risk, the liability, and what the outcome might not be.
It's funny looking so I've been employing myself and others the last 10 years of my life. Looking back, if it was like plainly like here's the gig, it'd be like, maybe not. It's funny to think of it that way. So to your point, somebody that's entrepreneurial, like in spirit, like and has desires, but still wants to work for someone else, not a bad gig, not a bad move. You can go, you can accomplish a lot, move fast. For you and I, that ended up not being the path. And you've at this point built a very respectable base, 8,000 customers. That's fantastic. And is that also in software?
No, actually. So finance, I guess, maybe it kind of did pay off for me, but I come from banking, insurance, finance background. Okay. So the company that we had partnered with, and then I sold off my ownership, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. We were doing over 2 billion in sales on a yearly basis in the banking industry. Cool. And excuse me, but that was just, that's my background, is really banking, finance, insurance, understanding a stable foundation. It might not be sexy, but I think a lot of the time when we try to build something, become the entrepreneur, we want it to be sexy, like, and I get it. But at the end of the day, you need to have something that actually people want, and it helps solve a problem. So my background allows me now to build what we've been working on for over 2 years. Hey, when you start a SaaS company, when you start a startup, whatever it is, it does not happen overnight. So I'm 2.5 years into this journey, have gone through different iterations of teams that have been with us, and that's okay. But most people sit there, not you, not me, but most people sit there like, I can't, 2.5 years just to like get to where you're at right now. It's the way of life. But I don't work. I have a lot of fun, and I get to have the conversations now with the people I want to have.
Yeah. Which is some of that fulfillment stuff. So let's keep going that direction.
Yeah.
Now we got a little bit of background, kind of how you got into this. It's too late. You're in it. You're not looking back. You got the kick in the butt. And if you do look back, she's still there. And what's your wife's name?
Angela.
Angela's just just waiting for you to look back. Like, no, I'm gonna kick you in the butt. So I can feel that stuff, and that's really cool. You have that type of support. So that all being said, what mastermind owners, coaches, consultants that are looking to create engagement with their tribe, with their community, you have some really good insight on this. Where should we start?
Yeah, I'll go from somewhere in the middle. So okay. I'm not a coach. I don't have a mastermind. I'm not a mentor. I'm not a consultant or anything like that. But where I saw the problem was the disconnect in intent and our attention, and where I had built up a solid foundation that if I maybe made a misstep, I'd still be okay. And I'd still go down this path of, different masterminds, different coaches, different programs. But that's not the case for everyone. So I'm like, how do we create a place of intent? How do we get rid of the ADD? Now, if I eat a box of Oreos and I sit there and I'm fat when I wake up in the morning, is it the Oreos' fault or is it my fault because I ate it? It's the same way that, and my where I'm tying this with is when we get onto Facebook or we get onto these other social platforms, LinkedIn, did it cause me to lose intent? Is it its fault? We know going into it, it's going to cause that. So how do we take that? How do we take the Oreo cookie out of the equation? Because it's not the Oreo cookie's fault. We're sending our clients all over the place and we've broken the intent.
I think this is really important. So if I hear what you're saying properly, like, hey, for our clients, they have a problem and they're looking to solve it. And there's this journey in between. And hey, if you got to log in here, go over here, or which is like it's hard to hold on to that original intent, that focus. Or if you're only logging into Facebook, you're a platform, by the way, that is designed for dopamine hits and grab your attention. Like it's crazy. It's a whole science. Like there's a reason people log in 12 times on average or more per day and spend over 5 hours per day or more on Facebook alone. Then there's Instagram and LinkedIn, all the other ones, right? So it's designed for dopamine hits and distraction, making it, to your point, very easy to lose focus and intent and get their problem actually solved. So, and as the owner and leader, then it's like, well, you trusted me and we're trying to do this thing, but like there's that disconnect of none of us are getting the results we're trying to get.
Yeah. And that's the thing where I sit there is like, think of it this way. The self-education space is over $50 billion a year industry. So there's a lot of noise coming around that and what we're creating. What if you just had a simplified process when the bat signal goes up or the success symbol goes up, since we have the success symbol right there. When that goes up, your people, your tribe, the ones that are entrusting, parts of their future, they got to take action. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't need to pay attention to anything else. There's something going on that Chris told me I need to look at because he takes care of me. He knows what's there. I don't have to go to Slack. I don't have to go to Facebook. I don't have to hop over here to this. I'm going to the Success Finder, to my group, to my people. I'm not seeing advertisements. Chris's stuff is not getting, pushed down a thread based off of something that happened 5 days ago. I'm getting what I want, when I want, when it matters most to me, because Chris told me when this signal goes up, the flare goes up, I need to pay attention. So now I know what I'm getting out of it. And I'm not confused. I don't have to go and you're like, hey, going from here, go from A to B to C. And hopefully the outcome, the results are D. Well, D in school is not good. So we'll use that. That's why we'll stop at D right there. But it's helping the coaches and the masterminds create intent with their people, better results, better communication, a simplified version of everything we're using right now.
So those are definitely the right answers and are clearly solving a real problem. What does that look like in application? So I'm a mastermind owner, let's say, and what can I do? Can I host my content on there and then like chat and post and engage with people? What does that piece look like?
Yeah. So right now we're in beta, and over the next 6 months, we're going to be based off of our initial 50 approved coaches and masterminds that we selected. We're going to the next level based off of the information. You're able to have your chat communication. You're able to have a social type feed where you can sit there and you post. People can comment, they can like, they can share it, but it's inside that private group. You can have, whether it's a free public group, you can have a private, we do have a couple larger, I don't like to use the word influencers, but we have a couple larger groups that are utilizing the platform that they're secret. They want to keep it secret. We don't ask. That's what you want. Cool. We created the secret feature on there, but they're able to have their communication. Now they're also able to communicate with people in the group on side chats. They're able to have that same type of a feature in there. That's the groups feature. One of the things that we, so it's two-way communication. You can post, someone else can post, someone else can post. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that we realized was that one-way communication, it's actually really effective and really important. And what that means, think of Twitter. You post, only people can comment.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they know that you can't just have someone in the wild, wild west, because you've allowed the people to be in that group, and we're always going to have the outlier that sits there and puts up something that just distracts people. Now we call it the radio feature. Only the admin of that group can post. You can see all the feedback. So you might think that your people are wanting X, but by the feedback, you're like, oh, all right, well, this next thing that we need to teach on next week needs to actually be in this domain. Okay. It needs to be in this origin area. So by keeping it one-way communication, you get the feedback that's most important to your people and to you for what needs to be next. And so those are just a few of the key features on there that that we want to keep that communication open. We've got video features that are built out through there for more intimate conversations to where you don't have to utilize Zoom. But right now, you know, if
So
you think about
you're
it,
applying like video conferencing?
there's some video conferencing features that we're working on right now to where it's like you don't have to have Zoom. You click on a thing, and all of a sudden, as long as you have some form of internet signal or you know you're on your cell, there you go. We learned. We you know we saw. To me, that's one of the features that we've got. But I'm not like, oh my god, this is groundbreaking. I'll be honest with you. When we hear radio, we think, oh, Clubhouse. We think, oh, you know, audio feature. Sometimes, and I don't wake up and the hair just doesn't look this good. You know, so one of the things that we're building out is to have that audio feature so people are able to have those group conversations inside their private group, inside their radio feature, but you don't have to show up with your makeup and your hair all done. And so that's one of the items that we're building out because we listened to our initial beta coaches and masterminds and are like, hey, we would really love to have this because again, you think of Clubhouse, more noise. You know, it's just more noise out there. So those are just a few items.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned audio. One of my biggest things about Slack that drives me freaking crazy is they can't send a voice message.
Yeah.
So Vox or Telegram, WhatsApp, you know, different, you know, even iMessage, but then they have to have an iPhone. It's just, you know, it's the voice thing is a very useful and building, you know, having conversation when you can and keeping people updated, so to speak. So very excited to hear that feature will be in the mix. There's one other feature that your video conferencing totally brought me down another path and so Success Finder is a platform of which someone can host their own mastermind content, but also engage and build relationship and continue to serve their tribe or clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. Without having to sit there and say, like, did I get the ad spend in this week? Did I do enough organic reach? You set the expectations with the people that are in there. So if you say, hey, I'm going to post 5 days a week, okay, you can comment from there. The minute you break that truth to them, they don't know what to believe. So if you say you're going to post 5 days a week, they just know, hey, every Monday through Friday, I know that Chris and Brandon are going to put something in there that I need. So now I've created the intent. I don't have to walk the dog. I don't have to walk them to the thing. Now it's their responsibility to go see because they know that you said, I'm going to be posting what's most important to you here. Monday through Friday, here you go. And they know now where to go.
I'm going to throw an objection at you.
Okay.
And I'm very curious because I'm doing my best to ask questions that, you know, the listener viewer would be thinking about. It's like, okay, so now I understand what it is. Let's think about actually using it. You know, it's clearly solving the problem of, hey, once we get our people, our tribe into this place, hey, we're going to limit or reduce distraction, and we're going to be more focused, more engaged, which is great. But we got to get them there.
Yes.
And then we got to keep them logging in and coming back to there. And so what would you say to this kind of small objection of like, hey, because part of the pro and con of Facebook is the habit's already built of them already going there. So, oh yeah, I got to like follow up with this thing. The con is that there's everything else on there and it's very distracting. How do we build the habit of them going to Success Finder?
Yeah. And that's really where, you know, you've got to break the human nature. You know, you've got people that are like, oh, I open up Facebook, refresh it 12 times a day to see if anyone liked, commented, or whatever on there. Like, why aren't my people, you know, you've got the tale of two coaches and one of them's like, why aren't my people coming to me? So at that point, I'd sit there and say, hey, that's cool. You're doing them a disservice if you don't give them the path that might not be as often taken. Hey, everybody, if you want my free content, all the free stuff that you have out there, I'm not saying go away from Facebook. Utilize it for marketing. But listen, you're a paying client or you're part of this and you're grandfathered into whatever. You want my private stuff. You want the stuff that actually is moving the needle where we can have real conversations away from, you know, the other people that are here because they joined our group. this is where you come. If you want what I have created for you, then you got to come over here. If we just tell them, we train them, we tell them this is the why, this is going to be more beneficial for you, we've given them the answer. They should entrust in us. I've got some partners that I don't have to ask them why. They're just like, hey, this is the best next step. Go do it. Same way,
Right.
my best coaches, the best masterminds, just tell me what to do, and I don't need to question it. No, that doesn't mean that I don't ask questions. But if they say go over here because it's going to help me, I'm going to listen to them. So it's our responsibility as the coach or the mastermind leader. If we've led them to a Facebook group, is it any different than saying, hey, listen, here's our next best step because I built this for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. So it comes down to building that authority framework and that trust and saying, hey, when you say jump, they'll say how high. And when you accomplish that, then you'll have kind of a safe place to continue to build and engage. I love it. What else is really important for coaches, consultants, mastermind owners to know about Success Finder?
Not everyone can be on the platform. Not everyone is, at the spot. If we just sit there and we flood it with a lot of groups and masterminds and coaches, then we really haven't had the spot check. So we want to make sure that they're the result leaders, not the motivators. They're the activators. It's great. I love to be motivated, but you want to be activated at the end of the day.
Activators.
So
That's cool.
we want to make sure that the right people are there, because when we spend our marketing dollars to bring other members to the platform to sit there and say, hey, by the way, here's our matching algorithm that's in Future Works. Here you're looking for these things, and it filters it down. It says, here are the top 3 that match what you're looking for. We're not going to rely upon other people to build the platform. It's great when we partner with people and they come in and they're like, hey, they've been approved. But we're going to be spending our own marketing dollars to bring people to the platform to find the right result leaders. And so we want to make sure that it's not, we've spent our time and money to build this SaaS company. We're also going to spend our time and resources in order to bring quality members to the platform to work with you. It's got to be a two-way street. I say, if you don't lead with give mentality, then what are you doing at the end of the day? If someone else did it and it was just your idea, and then they brought, 1,000, 5,000 of their active paying, people over there, did we really do much other than just have a great idea? One of the key people over there, they've got over 2,000 monthly active users, so MAUs, and they have a larger following, but over 2,000 of them are communicating and doing, actually in there. My favorite is when you see Instagram, I got 50,000 followers. Okay. And they got 10 hearts and 2 comments. And one of the comments is their hashtags. I think that's how you're supposed to do Instagram, is do the hashtags under. I don't know. We want active ones that are actually going to help you and them move the needle. So that's what we're really looking for. But we need to put our own marketing dollars behind it and make sure that we bring people to you. So going into 2022, once we release this next set of, we'll be out of beta and we'll release this next set, which will be web-based portion. That's where we're really going to start putting the gas on and making sure that we bring more people to the platform for you, for your other coaches, for your other masterminds, to find out who the result leaders are.
So it's currently an app, and moving to that web-based, so mobile, desktop friendly, I'd imagine. And I think that's a really important part. So it's like we've talked mostly about, hey, this is a place to host your content, engage with your tribe, but there's also, it sounds like, some type of marketplace where there's other prospects at that point that can find you listening, watching this, your mastermind. And so it's a form of acquisition as well. You're building a community where Success Finder will be the place that you go to find success, I would imagine, and pair up with the right and it's one of the biggest, undeniably biggest hacks for speed. In fact, just a 20-second short personal story just to go along with the premise and the problem that you're solving is, I graduated college and I was like, I was thinking about getting my MBA. Business has been interesting to me, and 50, 100 grand, whatever the MBA program is. I was like, but wait, okay, but if I do this, what skills am I acquiring? How does that affect my earnings? And I was like, what if I just found a millionaire and gave him 20 grand? And not that I had 20 grand at that point to give, but the thought was, why don't I just find the person that's already getting the result without getting into the whole story? And so Success Finder, kind of the premise, if I understand it properly, hey, it's going to have all these like, people that are already getting, great results, coaches, mentors. Huge way to collapse time, move faster, breathe over someone's shoulder, learn reading a book, it's like 10 years of or more of wealth of knowledge in just a book. So I love it. This is good.
I love how you used collapse time, because you need to have clarity, create certainty. Then that allows you to collapse time. And that's the biggest thing that I want to be able to create for people, is to be able to collapse that time. Would you rather have $30,000 in your right hand and it maybe pays for, at some given point, a year and a half of college? Would you rather have 30,000 in your left hand and take that and divvy it out 10 grand here, 10 grand here, 10 grand here over a few year period that pays probably for your room, your board, and learning from someone that actually is doing it? I'm going to take the 30 grand on my left-hand side because of the fact they're actually in the bushes and I can learn from them. So the learning curve just shortens right there. If I knew what I knew just a couple years ago because of coaching and masterminds, yes, 7-figure, 8-figure companies, where would they be? Now, I probably wasn't going to be ready for that kind of information, but I do know, where am I going to be in a few years? A lot closer to where I want to be because of hanging out with people like you and Sean and all the other amazing result leaders that are out there.
I would not be here today talking to you if I didn't if I didn't end up going the mastermind route. Like mastermind or entrepreneur AA, it gets a little blurry sometimes. But we had other like-minded people that were like, hey, you can make it, and here's a couple tweaks, because man, there are some serious kicks to the balls.
Yeah.
Throughout the process that you're like, I don't know if we're gonna make it through this, but and so far, in the last 10 years, we've, as I like to say, earned the right to keep playing this game of business and serving a market. Masterminds, we wouldn't have been able to make it without. So, hey, everyone that's leaning into this, Brandon, and liking what you're saying, they're like, shoot, how do I apply? Where's the best place to find you?
You know what? Go download the app, message me over there. I'll give you one other place. Sometimes glitches happen on beta platforms. That you've built out things and someone says, this doesn't work. So you can email me at brandon@thesuccessfinder.com. And if you want to have a real conversation, I'm going to give this number. If you get on the phone with me,
oh, here we go,
and you're going to just waste my time. Remember, I said at the beginning, I like FU time. I got FU money. I want FU time. So if you get on the phone and you waste my time, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm going to come back and be like, hey, how'd you find me? I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell Chris, and he doesn't want
this is getting real. Now I'm getting so sweat. Yeah, everyone listening. Yeah.
Here you go. Here's my cell phone number. Okay. 239-405-3662, 239-405-3662. So I just gave you 3 easy paths to go find me. One of my partners be like, give them the one place, only have them go over here. But I respect what you and Sean have built, Chris. And so I want to give them the easiest access to connect with me.
Love it. I really appreciate that. The last question I like to end with is if you're an artist, if you're an actor, if you're an athlete, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, there's this different journey of putting yourself out there. That's vulnerable, that's scary, that's all these things. And in this case for us, entrepreneurism, that we're going down this path. Why do you put yourself out there? Like, why? You've got FU money. Like, why keep going? Why keep building? Why keep creating?
I have this conversation with our 6-year-old, and I've had this conversation for the last couple of years with him. We started at a young age having real conversations. If you see a problem and you can do something about it, I have a responsibility to do more. It is my responsibility not to lay you down and just say, hey, I'm going to hop off to the country club. I don't belong to a country club, by the way, but if you see a problem and you can do something about it, it is our responsibilities as human beings to make a difference when you have an unfair advantage. I built my unfair advantage. Now I want to help other people build their unfair advantage.
Love it. Well said, Brandon. Hey, thank you for sharing with our audience today. And Sales Ascender, FlowChat fam, thank you for watching. Come back next week. Every single week, we're finding real people on the front lines, getting real results for you and for me. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back soon.